Hey everyone, Pastor George here, and today we have a wonderful question that wasn't sent to me by Mailbag, but was asked to me in person. I asked if I could use it in Theologs because, this is a question that I want to answer because, of course, it is, and it's also a question that a lot of people have had. So the question essentially was what do you think? Directed to me, Pastor George, of people of the Catholic Church and their praying to Mary and praying to saints and stuff like that. Um, and I'll tell you what I think, but I actually have some show and tell today. So, whoever lived in my apartment before was a Catholic and clearly was involved in one of the local churches because I get Catholic stuff like this sent to my house all the time. And this is the Fatima Crusader. I don't know too much about the Fatima Crusader, although I can tell just from a quick reading through it that it's like a very conservative Catholic publication based around the adoration or worship of the Our Lady of Fatima, which is like a Marian apparition. And a Marian apparition, for those of you who don't know, is a thing in Catholic teaching where Mary appears and gives commands to people. And some of them are considered legitimate and some of them aren't considered legitimate. So apparently Fatima, which I believe is in Portugal, but I'm not sure, is one of the big ones. And so I remember I've seen like Fatima shrines in the United States, which are like dedicated to praying to Our Lady of Fatima and stuff like that. And so here's the thing: it's like this is all built around. This is like a thing all about the worship and adoration of the Virgin Mary as she appeared at Fatima or something like that. And, I am generally pretty ecumenical in spirit. There's been obviously a lot of bad blood between Catholics and Protestants in the century since the Reformation, right? On both sides. And I would like to say that I don't have a inherent bias against Catholics. In fact, one Catholic in particular was very important in my own kind of being born again experience, and I considered converting to Catholicism in high school. So it's not like I have a inherent aversion to it, but ultimately one of the things that kept me from doing that was stuff like this. It was really this stuff, like my inner Protestantism or my inner ability to just be like, you know what? Christianity seems to be about worshiping Jesus, and when you have stuff like this, it really, really doesn't seem like that's what it is. And of course, I don't want to make a straw man here, and so I will say that this is I will say that I'll just quote what this is and what these people believe, right? Apparently, Fatima gave like a prophetic vision that had to do with saving people or something. And so the guy who's writing this writes, most of us are familiar with a broad overview of Our Lady's prophecies at Fatima. Many souls are falling into hell because men have turned their backs on God. All right, I'd agree with that. At this point in history, and this is where it gets weird, at this point in history, God will only save the world through devotion to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, right? What? Right? That's not what my Bible says, right? That's not what any Christian has ever taught. And it's very interesting, right? Because this is I'm not going to, most Catholics are, kind of just go to Mass on Sundays and get the communion and leave, don't sing, all that type of stuff. I've been to enough Catholic services for anyone who's Catholic and listening, all right? I've seen it, all right? I have family that's Catholic, okay? And I know that that's what happens. And so so most of them are probably not aware of this type of strain, but this is a really big thing. And it actually became a bigger deal after the Reformation. Basically what happened is the moderating force in the church, because you have to remember it was one church before the Reformation, right, was basically always tampered down on this type of thing. And basically at that break, all of them left to become Protestants. And the rest kind of stayed and became very invested in a lot of Marian theology and stuff like that, which is why you see a lot of this stuff only happen after the Reformation and not before it. So you kind of have an interesting thing there. But when you see things like that, right, when you see things like, at this point in history, God will only save the world through the devotion to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, you can start to see that some of these things have been placed in a way that where devotion and prayers that should be going to Jesus are going to other created beings, who do not have the ability to answer those prayers, right? Mary cannot answer prayers. Mary is a sinner just like everyone else, right? This is what the Bible teaches very clearly. It never gives her any special exemption. It never gives anyone any special exemption. Jesus Christ alone is the only person who has existed and been sinless, right? Because he is part God, right? So he's able to not worry about the taint of sin. So this is something that's very important. And again, not all Catholics believe this, but like this is why I'm inherently skeptical of this type of stuff, right? There'd be one thing if saints were people and that the church agreed upon were worthy of, replication and to teach the stories about their lives and stuff like that. And in that sense, I have no problem with calling people saints and stuff like that, right? I'm seeing like this person was particularly good at living the Christian life, but it has to be something that ultimately points people to Jesus and not points people to them. And I think lots of saints, both present and in the past, would agree with that. Mary would certainly agree, given what she says in Luke and other places, that it's not actually focused on her and what she does, but what on the seed of her womb, what Jesus does, right? So it's just nuts that this stuff is still going on. So, yeah, generally, I'm against it. I don't think you should pray to anyone but the Godhead, and I think that that's what the Bible teaches. And so I think that that's an error that needs to be thoroughly corrected in the Catholic Church and in the Orthodox Church, for that matter. So, yeah, good question from that person, and luckily I got firsthand experience here to show. All right, the rest of you have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. I'll see you on Sunday for worship. And yeah, peace out.